Hello, today is 5/5 of 25, and I am here with a video of what I eat in a day on my keto journey. If you're new here, my name is Christy. I changed my diet to a high protein, moderate fat, low carb diet back in April of 2024. It is currently quarter till 12. I actually had my first meal at 11 o'clock. We went to Chick-fil-A. Normally, I take some stuff with me, like some chopped avocado with bacon to have with my grilled nuggets, but I just didn't have that today. So I had 8 grilled nuggets and then I had 8 regular nuggets. It's kind of the way that I can get through eating. The grilled nuggets. I just need something with them in order to be able to eat them. So I had that, and then I also took with me a Okios 000 blueberry yogurt cup. So I had that while I was there too, and now I'm home and I am ready to have my coffee and a donut. So I have 1 cup of Fairlife whole milk with 2 shots of espresso. I am going to mix in my electrolyte mix. So this is a Keto Chow Brown brand salty packet, Coco Loco. I'll mix that in with my chocolate. I'm sorry, with my coffee. And then I have a donut. So this is a sugar-free, gluten-free donut, which means that it is low carb. It's made with almond flour, coconut flour, vanilla protein powder, monk fruit sweetener, baking soda, baking powder, vanilla carrots, olive oil, almond milk, egg replacer, pumpkin pie spice, tofuti, cream cheese, and pecans. So it's a carrot one. This is from Conscious Comforts. I get it from a local coffee shop, and they carry this. It's actually a local bakery here in our area that makes these. So that will round out my first meal of the day. I'll be back with my second. I went to the gym this afternoon. It was leg day, so I did seated calf raises, weighted step ups. Um, I can't remember what they're called, but it's like a glute bridge, but you lean on a bench and you lift your bottom so that you're in a 90-degree angle, and then you also push your knees out. And I did walking lunges and um, a goblet squat and marching wall sits, which are harder than they sound. So it was a really good workout. Then I did like 30 minutes of zone 2 cardio. It is currently 4:30 and I am getting ready to make my second meal of the day. So this is a recipe that I am trying, and my headphones broke, which is why I am now wearing headphones that have a wire, and it can just be a mess. So anyway, so this is a new to me recipe, but it's really simple and like probably a recipe that a lot of people know. I have pork cutlets here, tenderized pork cutlets that I am going to fry in some butter and olive oil. But first, I need to get them breaded. So I have got a 1/2 cup of almond flour here. I'm just going to dip each steak into the almond flour. I'm a little concerned that that might make these mealy, but we'll see. I will link to this recipe in the description below too. And then my egg wash, which is eggs and water. And then my panko mix. So this is pork rinds that I have crumbled up. I crushed them in my food processor, and then I added in some garlic powder to give them some flavor. And then I will get these all done like this. Although my recipe calls for a cup of pork rinds, but it really looks like I'm going to need more than that. So that might be something that we need to adjust in the recipe. And then I will get them fried up, like I said, in my butter and olive oil. All right, so I've got a yogurt bowl. This has 3/4 of a cup of plain whole Greek Chobani yogurt, along with a 1/2 cup of frozen blackberries that I sauteed. I have my 2 pork cutlets here and some green beans that I cooked in some broth and butter. So let's try these pork cutlets. I cooked those really well. Um, the meat itself is delicious. I don't know if I told you, but I did sprinkle salt and pepper on top of just the meat before I did my whole breading process. And the breading is good. I like it that it has the garlic in it. I think that really like just adds a depth of flavor to it that I enjoy. The breading isn't quite sticking as much as I would like it to stick, but it tastes good. So I'm excited. With my fried pork recipe, I did actually have to double the amount of pork rind breadcrumbs that I used and doubled the amount of garlic powder to go with it to make sure that I was covering all four of my chops. So the recipe calls for basically it's 1 cup of pork rinds and a teaspoon of garlic powder, but that needed to be doubled to actually make the food the way that you would think that it should be made. So just something to note on that recipe, but I do think that it's a good recipe and I can see using it again. I also added a 1/2 cup of cottage cheese to whole, or I guess 4% cottage cheese to that my last meal. I forgot that I needed to have it to kind of bump up my numbers for today. So I also had that. So I ended up with 1,600 calories. My protein is 173. My net carbs are 40 and my fat is 80. It is currently 10 o'clock. I have burned 2,536 calories so far today. And like I said, it's 10 o'clock. I'm still going to burn a couple hundred more. So that's going to get me at like 2,700 calories ish. And I've had 1,600 calories ish. So that means that I'm in a caloric deficit of at least 1,000 to 1,100 for the day. So I will definitely need to be eating a little bit more tomorrow. Last week, I was able to stay around 400 calories deficit, a caloric deficit of 400 calories per day if you averaged it out for the whole week. So there were some days where like I was in a caloric deficit of say 800 calories and other days where I had like a surplus of calories of like 100 calories, so not a ton, but I was able to work it all out so that I was able to stay around 400 calorie deficit per day as an average. So that's really good. The week before, I think it was a five to six. I think it was 600. It was a 600 caloric deficit per day week. So I'm doing really well. I'm really glad for that. I don't want to be eating too little and breaking down my body. That's really why I'm kind of keeping track of that. So I will be sure that tomorrow I just eat a little bit more to kind of make up for having eaten so little today. But I had a pretty good day today. Maybe I'll see you tomorrow.